what can the people do to fight back in Texas so that we can, be the,
Yeah, because we can
you know,
vote. We can vote here now, Ma.
Simple. All you have to do is get your state representative and your senator to change the law to give the attorney general concurrent jurisdiction so that if a DA commits a crime, they actually are accountable for it. If their friends are out committing crimes, running, some type of, drug operation or
yeah,
whatever else
right.
they're running, I can actually do something about it. Right now, I can know about it. They can even say, the DA in Travis County can say, I'm allowing as much crime as possible here. And that would be the way it was. And the legislature so far would just say, okay, whatever.
Okay, well, I'm so glad you spelled that out because I knew something was going on. It didn't make any sense. I couldn't make any sense out of it, but you have just made sense of it. So you've given us a way to,
Yeah,
you've
and it's
given us a way to, fix it, what's broken. So we got to do this, people of Texas. I know there's a lot of, older people that have some time on their hands. They're doing things. But let's get this done now, grandparents. Let's do
Cutting out a little
this.
bit.
Okay. I just challenge all the grandparents. Let's get this done for the kids. We got to do that.
Well, what is it we have to do? With the elect a state senator, or is this power that Abbott could have, or someone that was governor could overturn this? Or
no, it would have to be the legislature, the Texas House and the Texas Senate would have to pass a bill that would authorize the attorney general to prosecute voter fraud, other crime, any crimes, human trafficking, so that if the DA decides, like in Dallas County, the DA said, okay, I'm not going to even though there's a law against shoplifting, as long as it's under $750 a day at each store, you can shoplift as much as you want. Well, that's not right. He's not supposed to make up the laws. He's supposed to enforce them. I can't do anything about it, and the legislature hasn't fixed that, so that's the state of affairs. So in Travis County and other counties, you've got DAs who are not prosecuting a lot of major crime, and the legislature so far has just sat on their hands and let that happen.
So it's actually like not against the law to steal or commit crimes.
It's against the law that there's no one that will enforce it because the legislature knows that there are DAs that are not going to prosecute. They could pass a law that said, okay, if we're not going to get it done at the local level, let's get it done at the state level. Let's let the attorney general prosecute things that are not being prosecuted and give them some resources to do it. They've said, let's just live with what we got because the DAs don't want to change it. Because that way the DAs, they're not accountable to anybody. They can do whatever they want. They're like little kings and queens that run these little areas, and no one can force them to prosecute. I'm not saying every DA is doing that. I'm saying in most of the...
No. But that's not different from the mafia at all.
No, it's not. And they can participate with the mafia if they want to, and as long as they're not committing a federal crime, yeah, it's no one can stop them.
Well, maybe this would be a good learning experience. Like, maybe I could wake up some people and go, because you could wake me up. Like, how would I go about starting a legislation thing? How would I do that?
Right here, we just encourage people to talk to their elected representatives, go meet them, and say, hey, we need some backup, some accountability for these district attorneys who are not prosecuting any kind of crimes or who are not prosecuting certain crimes. Why not? Why is that a bad idea? I don't see why it's a bad idea, but the legislature resisted that, and the DAs have been in there lobbying every session to try to keep themselves from having anybody that would help them prosecute crimes. And these are even DAs.
People should push against that and say, how come whose side are you on? Why did we elect you?
Why wouldn't you want people prosecuted for shoplifting? Why wouldn't you want people prosecuted for stealing votes? Why wouldn't you want people prosecuted for committing heinous crimes?
Yeah. It's the Soros plan. It's to crash our economy and our country so he can buy it low and sell it high. We talk about it every week. They're trying to destroy it.
Buy low, sell high. Yeah. And if you cause a lot of chaos, you can buy it cheap.
It's gross.
It's so sick. It's crony capitalism. So, when was the left the champion of crony capitalism? They're not even the left. I don't even get why they say they're progressive because they're anything but. They're just the mafia or something.
They're useful idiots.
Some cartel, some crime cartel from hell.
They're pawns in the game.
Honestly, I think it's a global elite. They all work together. They all know each other. They all go over to Switzerland and talk about it over there, and their little meetings at Davos, and they decide how they're going to rule the world.
And Epstein Island, they go there a lot.
They used to.
Yeah, I'm sure there's another place now.
I knew the Attorney General in the Virgin Islands. She was pursuing that, and then Biden went to visit the Virgin Islands, and suddenly she lost her job.
Wow!
And all that investigation kind of went away.
Was that when he was vice president, or is this?
No, that was when he was president. He went down there, and then all of a sudden she disappeared. Like she was gone. Like I used to when I've actually visited with her in several different locations, and I thought she was doing a good job investigating all that stuff, and then suddenly she's out.
They got to her. Hope she's safe. Hope she doesn't shoot herself in the 3 times Clinton suicide.
Don't say something like that.
Hey, Ken, I have a quick question for you. The lawsuit, 2 questions. The Pfizer lawsuit we talked about earlier in the show. Is there any update on that, or is that just something that kind of just gets thrown out and gets stuck in the courts for a while, or is there progress? Because I'm really excited about that one.
No, I think there's going to be. I mean,
can you update us?
We don't have a trial setting yet, but we're in Texas, which is where we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think they're going to have to answer. And what I love about this is it's going to expose the whole vaccine and how they did it, and why do they have federal protection so that they don't actually have to test anything? They're not liable for.
Well, it wasn't even a vaccine. Remember when they got around that? They said, "Okay, it ain't a vaccine. We're just going to change the name."
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't even a vaccine.
It's not an inoculation at all. No, it's a treatment. They changed the definition.
That's what they use to get the liability protection. That's why they're saying we can't sue them, because they got federal protection back in the 80s, and then later on in early 2000, they got protection so that individuals can't sue them.
Right.
You can go in and say, look, they killed 12,000 people yesterday, and they wouldn't be liable. But guess what? We have state laws. And if they commit a deceptive trade practice and they lie to us about the effectiveness, and they lie to us, and then they try to crush any kind of conversation about it, and they censor people and they attack them, well, guess what? Under Texas law, that's a problem.
Okay, so
we can see.
So this is a state case.
Yes, this is a state case, state law. They're arguing that federal law protects them from state law, and I'm saying no, it doesn't.
Okay, and if your way, I'm sorry, just so I understand, if your way works, would this be something that would encourage other attorney generals in other states? Is that the next move, or could you win the whole thing in Texas and shut them down?
I want them to. I filed it hoping other attorney generals would do the same thing, but you know what? So far that hasn't happened. And remember, there's no more powerful lobby and no more bigger money machine than big pharma. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily an accident. I got impeached 3 weeks after I started.
I didn't realize the timing on that. That's absolutely
3 weeks. I announced it May 1st, and by the 3rd week of May, they were booting me out.
Wow. And then
because you let them know the direction you were going to go, and like I said, it was like, oh no, this guy, he has some ethics. We can't have that.